floor. The Bucks actually shooting on a net that was tangled. Oh, my goodness, what was that?
What was that, actually? Honestly, I wonder, like, when you watch these guys play, do you think, I could have made that? I could have drained that. He's a professional athlete.
This is Sportscentre.
Hey, I'm Marissa Verdon. It's a big night for Raptors fans. It's a rematch of the 2019 NBA Finals. The Warriors are in town for a game that doesn't really mean a lot, but it has some sentimental value for Toronto fans, who honestly don't really have that much to get excited about these days. Hard to believe it's already been 5 years. And what's also wild is that Steph Curry has not played a game in Toronto since that series. The 2020 meeting was canceled due to COVID, and he's missed the other 3 Raptors home games, including the 2021 meeting in Tampa. It will be good to get reacquainted, even though these two teams look very different than they did in 2019. Curry is about as good as he's always been, averaging 27.5 per game this season, right around what he put up 5 years ago alongside Kevin Durant. But here's where Golden State slipped. Klay Thompson is having his worst season since his rookie year. And it's not just his scoring, his shooting numbers are down across the board. Klay's been benched at key points this season, and was pulled from the starting lineup 2 weeks ago. As the 6th man, he's been a little better, averaging just under 20 points through 6 games. Overall, the Warriors have won 12 of 15, comfortably grasping a spot in the West play-in, but certainly still looking to move up. Meanwhile, the Raps won their previous meeting with the Warriors this season, crushing them by 15 back in January. Scottie Barnes had his quietest game of the year, with just 6 points, 2 rebounds, and 3 assists. And since we're reminiscing about 2019, do you want to know where he was back then? Scottie was a junior in high school in Fort Lauderdale, still just 17 years old and averaging 13, 7, and 5. FanDuel is setting his over-under tonight at 19.5 points, but with Scottie, you're always looking at the big picture. And they're offering some enticing odds on him getting the triple-double, which would be his 5th of the season. To hockey, and the least is something they haven't done since October 17, 2002 last night. They beat the Coyotes in regulation on home ice in Toronto. Another fun fact, Matthew Knies was born in Phoenix on that very night and scored the opening goal in last night's game. If that doesn't warm your heart. How about the Leafs giving Joseph Woll the player of the game belt after his long-awaited return to the lineup? Woll had not played since December, but he was red hot right before that ankle injury and picked up right where he left off. It's not all good news though, especially on that back end. Jake McCabe was banged up, and even if he's okay, Mark Giordano left with a head injury, only adding to the Leafs' injury woes on the blue line. That's led to the Leafs adding an old friend. After the game, they traded for Ilya Lyubushkin from the Ducks. Toronto traded for the physical D-man back in 2022 as well, so they're familiar with his game. But some fans aren't exactly elated to see his return, given some of the players that have already been on the move. That said, Toronto probably isn't done yet. So let's let this play out before giving any hot takes. Over to F1. And yesterday, Tim Rainey walked us through the infamous Turn 10 in Bahrain. So guess who's back with us today to look at tomorrow's season opener? Timothy, thank you for joining us.
Only my mom calls me Timothy when she's mad at me, Marissa, so...
Honestly, Tim, I like you as Timothy, so I'm just going to hold on to this for a little bit. So the drivers were on course for qualifying today. How'd that go, and who's on the pole for tomorrow's race?
All right, so we got Max Verstappen on pole, Charles Leclerc starting P2, and the Mercedes of George Russell starting in 3rd, Marissa. Now, I spoke with both Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc following qualifying, and it was interesting to hear from the Ferrari driver because pole position, it sounds like, basically came down to almost a wing change, just a small little change to Charles Leclerc's car. That was the difference between getting pole position and starting in P2. Now, when Ferrari sent Charles Leclerc out in Q3, the final round of qualifying, for his first push attempt, they sent him out on older tires. Now, track evolution plays a factor here. So the more the track evolves, the more cars run on it, the faster it gets, the more it grips up. Now, so when Charles Leclerc goes to do his final push lap in Q3, the track has evolved. He's on newer tires, fresher tires, faster tires. That changes braking references. It changes handling of the car. And so Leclerc is saying that probably could have came down to just a minor wing change, and that's what kept him out of pole position.
Max Verstappen had 19 wins in his historic 2023 season and enters tomorrow's race as the obvious heavy favorite. Do you have any predictions for how this is going to shape up?
Yeah, Marissa, that's a great question. I mean, this field is super close, especially between the bottom 9 teams, not including the Red Bulls, which everybody thinks they have a huge advantage in the race. Maybe not in qualifying, but in the race, the RB20 appears to be scaring everyone down this paddock, so much so that George Russell said in the press conference that we were just in that he believes they've got a 5-10 10th advantage in the race. That's pretty dramatic. Max Verstappen ended up making a face at him like this. So that leads me to believe that Max doesn't believe that the RB20 has that type of pace in it over a race distance. But tomorrow we are going to find out. Obviously, Max Verstappen is the favorite coming in here. The reigning world champ has to be. But let's see what the Ferrari can do with Charles Leclerc, because they have been working very hard on their race pace over the offseason. Let's see if they've made any gains.
Timothy, thanks for doing this. We'll see you again soon. Enjoy the weekend.
All right, Marissa, thanks very much for having me. Really appreciate it. Good to see you. Good to hear from you. And enjoy the race this weekend.
You can catch the Bahrain Grand Prix Saturday on TSN. Coverage begins bright and early, 8:30 a.m. Eastern, 5:30 a.m. Pacific. Okay, we've been doing this all week long. It's time to check back in on the Special Olympics Canada Games in Calgary. First, another check in on the medal count heading into today. And another shout out to these fantastic athletes that are just killing it out there. Joined now by our very own Jesse Pollock. Jesse, how's it going?
It's going great, Riss. It's been great all week.
Jesse, you've been all over the events this week. You checked out quite a few of them, so what's your game today?
So today, I'm at the Olympic Oval in Calgary. This place is so cool. There's actually a hockey rink right beside me, a speed skating right beside me, and then a massive oval that wraps around. I've never really seen anything like it before, but I'm at speed skating, and let me tell you, the athletes are moving. So right when I'm done this, I'm going to get closer to the ice, and I'm going to get some good footage. I've been looking forward to this all week.
Now, yesterday you checked out some cowboy gear because you needed to get all dressed up for the closing ceremonies that I hear you're a part of. So how'd that go? Can we see some pics?
Yes, I did get fitted for some new cowboy clothes at Lamley's. They hooked me up. Allie Price, Special Olympics ambassador, she chose my fit and crushed it. I mean, I've never felt so handsome in my life, and that is saying a lot. I'm just kidding. I just don't think I've ever looked so handsome in my life. So, Allie, thank you so much. I'm really, really looking forward to the closing ceremony, and I'm going to feel good while I'm up there.
I love that we get to be a part of this origin story of Jesse's cowboy era. It begins here and now. Thanks, Jess. Enjoy the closing ceremonies.
Thanks, Riss. Have a good one.
That's all for today. We'll see you right back here Monday. Have a great weekend.